I found the invitation to my wife's VP celebration in her car. My name wasn't on it. Her ex-boyfriend's was. Sitting with her parents. In my spot. While she celebrated, I packed. While she smiled for photos, I emptied accounts. When she came home, it changed everything. My name is Michael Harrison. People call me Mike. I'm 43 years old, and I've spent the last 18 years building something I thought mattered. 3 franchise locations across the metro area. Coffee shops with my name on the lease, my sweat in the foundation, my money keeping the lights on. Not glamorous, but honest work. The kind that lets you sleep at night, or at least it used to. I married Jennifer Collins 21 years ago. She was 20 then, fresh-faced and full of plans. I was 22 and stupid enough to think love conquered everything. We had Madison a year later. Our daughter just started her sophomore year at State, studying biology, living in a dorm 3 hours away. Old enough now to understand that marriages aren't always what they look like in the photos. Jennifer works as a sales director for MedTech Solutions, one of those mid-sized companies that sells surgical equipment to hospitals. She's good at it too. Brings home 6 figures, gets flown to conferences, schmoozes with doctors and hospital administrators. 3 weeks ago, they promoted her. Not officially yet, but the announcement's coming. Vice President of Sales. Corner office, company car, the works. I found the invitation by accident. Tuesday morning, I was looking for my insurance card or car. We've been meaning to add her vehicle to my policy, save a few bucks. That's when I saw the envelope wedged between the passenger seat and the center console. Cream-colored, expensive paper. The kind corporations use when they want you to feel special. MedTech Solutions cordially invites you to celebrate Jennifer Harrison's promotion to Vice President of Sales. Friday, November 15th, 7 p.m. The Metropolitan Club. Dinner and reception to follow. Below that, in smaller print, reserved seating for immediate family. I pulled out the seating chart that was tucked inside. Alphabetical by last name. There was her name, Jennifer Harrison. 2 seats at table 3. Her parents, Richard and Susan Collins, were listed. Her brother, David Collins, and his wife were there too. I wasn't on it. Not at her table. Not at any table. I stood in the driveway holding that invitation for a long time, watching the paper tremble slightly in my hand. Not from anger. Not yet. Just that hollow feeling you get when you suddenly realize you've been background noise in your own marriage. Jennifer came out 20 minutes later, coffee mug in hand, already on her phone. She didn't notice me standing there at first. When she did, her smile faltered just a fraction. "Hey, babe," Jennifer said, her voice unnaturally bright. "Thought you'd already left for the Riverside location." I held up the invitation without saying a word. Her face did something complicated. Not quite guilt, not quite defiance. Somewhere in between. "Oh," she said. That. I repeated. "Your big promotion celebration. The one I'm apparently not invited to." Jennifer set her coffee mug down on the hood of her car. Carefully, like she was buying time to think. I watched her face cycle through 3 different expressions before she finally settled on something between apologetic and defensive. "Mike, it's not what you think," she said. "Then tell me what it is," I said, "because what I think is that my wife got promoted to VP, and I'm not invited to watch her celebrate it." Jennifer crossed her arms. That's always been her tell. When she's about to say something she knows I won't like, she crosses her arms like she's protecting herself from the truth. "My parents requested the seating arrangements," she said. "You know how my dad is about these corporate things. He's very particular about optics." "Optics," I repeated. "Your dad cares about optics so much that his son-in-law of 21 years doesn't make the guest list. It's complicated, Mike." "Then uncomplicate it." Jennifer looked away, toward the street where our neighbor was walking his dog. "Anywhere but at me. They think Austin should be there." The name hit me like cold water. Austin Parker. Her college boyfriend. The guy she dated for 2 years before we met. Some hospitality consultant who wore expensive suits and talked about restaurant profit margins like they were gospel. I'd met him exactly twice. Once at Jennifer's company retreat 4 years ago, once at her father's birthday party last summer. Both times, he'd looked at me like I was help. "Austin," I said. "Your ex-boyfriend Austin. That Austin. He's consulting with my company now," Jennifer said, her voice getting that defensive edge. "He's been helping us restructure our distribution strategy. He's actually really valuable to the team." "That's great, Jen. Wonderful." But that doesn't explain why he get a seat at your celebration, and I don't. She finally looked at me. Her jaw was tight. Because my parents like him. Okay? They always have. They think he's more their speed. Their speed. You know what I mean, Mike. He speaks their language. The corporate world, networking, that whole scene. You're great at what you do, but running coffee shops isn't exactly. She trailed off, but the rest of the sentence hung there anyway. Isn't exactly impressive to people like them. I felt something shift in my chest. Not anger yet. Something colder than that. So let me make sure I understand this correctly, I said, keeping my voice level. Your parents like your ex-boyfriend more than your husband. And rather than tell them that's insane, you just went along with it. Didn't even mention it to me. Just let me find out by accident. I was going to tell you, Jennifer said, but even she didn't sound convinced. When? Friday night, when I asked how the party went. She didn't answer that. Just stood there in the driveway, arms still crossed, looking at me like I was the one being unreasonable. You know what the worst part is? I said, it's not that you didn't fight for me. It's that you didn't even think I'd care enough to fight back. I handed her the invitation. She took it, but didn't look at it. I need to get to the Riverside location, I said. Inventory deliveries coming at 9. I walked past her, got in my truck, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I could see her still standing there in the driveway, holding that cream-colored envelope like it might catch fire. But here's the thing about quiet people. We don't always show you when we're hurt. We just start making plans. The Riverside location needed me, but not as much as I needed it. Sometimes you need a reason to get out of your own head, and counting inventory is as good as any. Besides, I do my best thinking when my hands are busy. I spent Tuesday organizing the stockroom, checking delivery schedules, training the new kid on the espresso machine. Normal Tuesday stuff. But in between pulling shots and signing invoices, I was thinking about that seating chart. About Austin Parker's name in the spot where mine should have been. Around 2 in the afternoon, I call my accountant. Gerald Simmons, 68 years old. Been doing my books since I opened the first location 15 years ago. Sharp as they come. Gerald, I need you to pull something for me, I said. All joint account activity for the last 2 years. Everything Jennifer and I have together. Checking, savings, the investment accounts. That's a lot of paperwork, Mike, Gerald said. What am I looking for? I don't know yet. Just anything that looks off. Large withdrawals, unusual transfers, anything I didn't authorize. There was a pause. Gerald's not stupid. He'd been married 43 years. He knew what this kind of request meant. I'll have it for you by Thursday, he said. Thanks, Gerald. And keep this between us. Always do. I hung up and went back to work. But I couldn't stop thinking. 8 months ago was when the Riverside location started losing market share. 3 regular corporate contracts we'd had for years suddenly went to a competitor across town. New place called Velocity Cafe. Sleeker branding, aggressive pricing, suspiciously well-informed about our pricing structure. I chalked it up to bad luck. Now I wasn't so sure. That evening, Jennifer came home late. Again, said she'd been at a strategy meeting with the VP team, preparing for the transition. She kissed me on the cheek like nothing was wrong, asked how my day went, started making dinner like we were still the couple who told each other everything. Austin called today, she said, stirring pasta sauce on the stove. Casual. Too casual. He wanted to confirm some details about Friday's event. I'm sure he did, I said. Jennifer glanced at me. Mike, please don't be like this. Like what? Like a husband who just found out he's been replaced by your ex at the biggest night of your career. You haven't been replaced. You're being dramatic. I set down my beer, looked at her directly. When did Austin start consulting on your business? I told you. He's been helping with distribution strategies. When did it start? She turned back to the stove. Maybe 6, 7 months ago. I don't remember exactly. Try harder. Why does it matter, Mike? Because 7 months ago, my Riverside location started hemorrhaging contracts to a competitor. And I'm wondering if those two things might be connected. Jennifer's stirring stopped. Just for a second. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. You think Austin is feeding information to your competitors? That's paranoid, even for you. Is it? He's a hospitality consultant. He knows the industry. He's been working with you, which means he's been around our conversations, around our financial discussions. You tell him things about my business. Of course not. You sure about that? Because you didn't tell me you were working with him at all. So forgive me if I'm not taking your word for it. The sauce started bubbling over. Jennifer turned off the heat, moved the pan, and stood there with her back to me. Her shoulders were tight. I think I'm going to sleep in the guest room tonight, I said. Mike, I'm not angry, Jen. I'm just tired, and I need some space to think. I left her in the kitchen and went upstairs. The guest room still had boxes in it from when we'd moved Madison's stuff out for college. I pushed them aside, lay down on the bed, and stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed. Text from Madison. Hey, Dad, can we talk this weekend? Something's been on my mind. I stared at that message for a long time before responding. Of course, honey. Call me whenever. She didn't respond right away. That wasn't like her. Madison always responded immediately. I set the phone down and closed my eyes. But I wasn't sleeping. I was thinking about timelines. About coincidences that weren't coincidences. About my daughter's strange text and my wife's casual lies. By the way, if you're listening to this and it's hitting close to home, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Helps more than you'd think. 97% of you don't. And trust me, it makes a difference. Gerald called Thursday morning while I was opening the downtown location. Mike, you need to come to my office, he said. No greeting, no small talk. That's when I knew it was bad. I got there by 10. Gerald had papers spread across his desk like crime scene evidence. Bank statements, transaction records, copies of checks I'd never seen. Tell me what I'm looking at, I said. Gerald pointed to the first stack. Joint savings account. You and Jennifer. 3 years ago, you had $240,000 in there. Money from your dad's life insurance, plus what you'd saved from the franchises. Right. That's our retirement fund. Was your retirement fund, Gerald said. He slid another paper toward me. 18 months ago, Jennifer withdrew $80,000. The memo line says investment opportunity. My stomach dropped. I never authorized that. Signature's yours, though. I looked at the withdrawal slip. That was my signature, or a very good copy of it. I didn't sign this, Gerald. Then we had a problem. He pulled out more papers. 6 months later, another $70,000. Same story. Your signature. No consultation. 3 months after that, $45,000 more. How much is left? $42,000. And that's only because she hit the annual gift tax limit. Couldn't take more without triggering IRS scrutiny. I sat back in the chair. Nearly $200,000. Gone. Where did it go? Gerald handed me another document. Wire transfers. All to the same LLC. Parker Hospitality Ventures. Austin Parker. Of course it was. There's more, Gerald said, and somehow I knew this was going to be worse. Your business accounts. Someone's been accessing the financial records. Not taking money directly, but pulling reports. Vendor contracts. Pricing structures. Profit margins. Everything. Ow. Shared login credentials. Jennifer's your co-owner on paper for tax purposes. Remember? She has administrator access to the accounting software. These pulls happened after hours. Late evening, around 9 or 10 p.m. When I'm usually asleep. Yeah. I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, people were going about their normal Thursday. Getting coffee, heading to work, living lives that hadn't just shattered into sharp pieces. There's one more thing, Gerald said quietly. I pulled the business registration records for Velocity Cafe, the competitor that's been taking your contracts. I turned around. Silent partner listed as Parker Hospitality Ventures. Registered 8 months ago. The room felt smaller suddenly. Austin Parker wasn't just consulting with my wife. He was using information from my business to compete against me, using my money to fund it. And Jennifer had been helping him do it. What do I do, Gerald? He looked at me over his reading glasses. Legally, you document everything. You protect yourself. You get a lawyer. And personally, Gerald folded his hands. You decide if you want to fight or walk away. But Mike, if you walk away, you do it smart. You don't leave anything behind that can bite you later. I drove home in a fog. When I got there, the house was empty. Jennifer was at work, probably sitting in meetings with Austin, planning strategies, laughing about something, not thinking about me at all. I went to the garage and found what I was looking for. 3 boxes marked college files, in Jennifer's handwriting. Old paperwork she'd never thrown away. I opened the first one and started digging. Financial aid documents, transcripts, and buried at the bottom, a thank you card, dated from 22 years ago, Jennifer's junior year, the year before we met. Thanks for the getaway to Silver Creek. Next one's on me. Let's not wait so long between visits. Yours, Austin. Silver Creek. That was 7 hours away. Jennifer had told me she'd spent that spring break volunteering at a homeless shelter. I remembered because I felt guilty for going to Cancun with my buddies while she was doing charity work. She hadn't been at a shelter. She'd been in a cabin with Austin. I sat on the garage floor with that card in my hand, and something cold settled in my chest. Not rage. Not even hurt anymore. Just clarity. Perfect, crystalline clarity. She'd been lying to me from the beginning, and she'd gotten so comfortable with it that she'd stopped being careful. That was her mistake. Friday morning started like any other. Jennifer's alarm went off at 6. I heard her shower running, heard her moving through the bedroom, heard the closet door open and close as she picked out something for the big day. I was already awake. Had been for hours. Lying in the guest room bed, watching the ceiling fade from black to gray as dawn came through the window. By 7, I was dressed. Jeans, work boots, my old Colorado State hoodie. Jennifer was in the kitchen, coffee in hand, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I came down the stairs. "Morning," she said. Careful, like she was testing the temperature of the water. "Morning," I said back. "You working at the downtown location today?" "That's the plan." She nodded, sipped her coffee. "So about tonight." "Have a great time," I said. "You've earned it." Something flickered across her face. Relief, maybe, like she'd expected a fight and was grateful not to get one. "Thank you," she said. "That means a lot." I pour myself coffee. Black, no sugar. Same way I've been drinking it for 20 years. "What time does it start?" 7. "But I need to be there by 6 for photos and pre-reception stuff." "Makes sense." She stopped. Started again. "I know this has been weird, but after tonight, things will settle down. We can talk, really talk about everything." "Okay, sure," I said. "After tonight." She smiled. Small, uncertain, but real. Then she kissed my cheek and left for work. I stood in the kitchen for a long time after her car pulled away, thinking about that kiss, about how easy it was to lie with a smile. Then I got to work. First call went to Gerald. Transfer my half of the joint accounts into my personal business account. Everything. Do it this morning. "Mike, that's going to trigger alerts." "I know. Do it anyway. And pull me off every joint authorization. Credit cards, utilities, everything with both our names. I want my name removed by end of business today. You're sure about this?" "Gerald, I've never been more sure of anything." Second call went to my lawyer. Patricia Hendricks, 56 years old, best family attorney in the metro area. I'd met her twice at Chamber of Commerce events. Never thought I'd need her. "Patricia, it's Mike Harrison. I need to retain you. Today." "What's going on, Mike?" "My wife's been emptying our accounts to fund her ex-boyfriend's business. She's been feeding him information from my franchises. And I need to make sure when this blows up, I'm protected." There was a pause. "Come to my office at 9. Bring everything you've got." I spent 90 minutes in Patricia's office. Showed her the bank records, the forged signatures, the LLC documents, the timeline of my business losses that matched exactly with Austin Parker's gains. She took notes, asked questions. By the time I left, I had a strategy. "File separation papers Monday," Patricia said. "Don't tell her it's coming. Don't give her time to hide assets or create a narrative. You hit first, hit hard, and hit with documentation." "What about tonight?" "Her celebration." Patricia looked at me over her glasses. "What about it? Do I go? Do I confront her there?" "Mike, you're asking me as your lawyer or as a person?" "Both." She leaned back in her chair. "As your lawyer, I say stay away. Don't create a scene. Don't give her ammunition for a claim of harassment or emotional abuse. As a person." She smiled, thin and cold. "I say do what you need to do. Just don't do anything stupid." I left her office at 11. Drove to the downtown location. My assistant manager, Tom, was behind the counter. Good kid, 24 years old, working on his business degree at night. "Tom, I need you to run all 3 locations starting Monday," I said. His eyes went wide. "What?" "What?" "Personal stuff. I'll still be around, just not day-to-day for a while. You can handle it." "I know you can." "Mike, if this is about Jennifer." I looked at him sharply. "What about Jennifer?" Tom shifted uncomfortably. "Nothing. Just, I saw her having lunch with some guy a few months back. At that Italian place downtown. They looked close. I didn't want to say anything because it wasn't my business, but how close? Holding hands across the table close." I nodded. Kept my voice level. Thanks for telling me, Tom. I'm sorry, man. Don't be. You didn't do anything wrong. I spent the afternoon at the Riverside location, checking inventory, reviewing schedules, doing the normal Friday closing procedures. Around 4, I went to the storage unit Jennifer and I had rented years ago. The one she thought I'd forgotten about. I pulled out 3 boxes. Old college paperwork, tax returns from the early years of our marriage, the deed to our house. Everything important, everything that proved what I'd contributed, what I'd built. Then I drove home. Jennifer's car wasn't in the driveway. She was already at the Metropolitan Club, getting ready for her big moment. I walked through her house like I was seeing it for the first time. 20 years of furniture we'd picked out together. Photos on the walls. Madison's baby shoes and shadow box. All the physical evidence of a life that had been a lie. I didn't pack everything, just what mattered. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, important documents. 2 suitcases and a box. That's what 20 years came down to. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, right next to the coffee maker, where she'd see you in the morning. Then I left. I didn't go to the Metropolitan Club. I went somewhere better. The storage unit was cold. Concrete floors, metal walls, fluorescent lights humming overhead. But it was quiet, private, exactly what I needed. I'd rented it 2 weeks ago under my business name. Small 10 by 10, just big enough for the boxes I brought from the house. Now I added to the collection. The laptop Jennifer didn't know I had. The backup drive with copies of every financial document. The folder Gerald had given me with highlighted transaction records. The notebook where I'd been tracking timelines, cross-referencing dates. Everything she thought was hidden. Everything she thought I'd never find. I sat on a folding chair and pulled out my phone. 7:15. The celebration had started. Jennifer was probably giving her acceptance speech right now. Thanking the executive team. Thanking her parents. Thanking Austin for his invaluable professional guidance. My phone buzzed. Text from Madison. Dad, I'm driving home tonight instead of tomorrow morning. Need to see you. Something's wrong. I stare at that message. Something's wrong. Madison knew. I don't know how, but she knew. I called her. She answered on the first ring. Dad, hey sweetheart. What's going on? Where are you? Madison asked. I called the house. Mom didn't answer. Your mom's at her celebration. The VP thing. Right. And where are you? Working late. There was a pause. Then Madison's voice got quieter. Dad, don't lie to me. Please. I closed my eyes. How much do you know? Grandma called me last week, she said. Asked if I was excited about Mom's promotion. Asked if I'd met Austin Parker yet. Said he was going to be at the celebration, sitting with them. What did you say? I asked who Austin Parker was. And Grandma got weird. Said he was just a business associate. But Dad, the way she said it, like she expected me to already know. Like everyone knew except you. My chest tightened. Madison, Mom's been cheating on you, hasn't she? Madison said it flat. Not a question. A statement. Yeah, I said. Yeah, she has. I heard Madison take a shaky breath. How long? I don't know yet. But longer than I want to think about. What are you going to do? I'm going to handle it. The right way. The legal way. But Madison, I need you to not be in the middle of this. You understand. I'm already in the middle of it, Dad. She's my mom. You're my dad. There's no way I'm not in the middle. Then let me make this easier. I'm leaving your mom. Filing for separation. It's going to get messy. But no matter what happens, no matter what she says or what your grandparents say, you need to know something. What? I love you. That doesn't change. Ever. You don't have to pick sides. You don't have to fix this. You just have to keep being my daughter. That's all I need from you. Madison was crying now. I love you too, Dad. I know, sweetheart. Now turn around. Go back to campus. Don't come home this weekend. Trust me on this. But, Madison, please, let me handle this part. Okay. She was quiet for a long time. Then, okay. But Dad, when this is over, when everything's settled, I'm on your side. Just so you know. I appreciate that, honey. More than you know. We hung up. I sat there in the storage unit, surrounded by evidence of my wife's betrayal, and felt something shift. Not anger anymore. Not hurt. Something colder. Something final. I pulled up Jennifer's Instagram. She'd posted 10 minutes ago. A photo of her at the podium, mid-speech, smiling at the crowd. Caption, grateful for this incredible opportunity and everyone who believed in me. The comments were already rolling in. Congratulations. Well deserved. So proud of you. I scrolled to the tagged photos. Someone had posted a wider shot of the room. I zoomed in on table 3. There was Jennifer's father, Richard, her mother, Susan, her brother David, and sitting right next to Susan, smiling like he belonged there, was Austin Parker. He was wearing my spot at her celebration, sitting with my in-laws, probably toasting to her success with my money that he'd stolen. I took a screenshot, added it to my evidence folder, labeled it November 15th, the night she chose him. Then I turned off my phone and went to the hotel I booked. Extended stay, month to month. 1 room, kitchenette, no questions asked. I ordered a burger from room service. Ate it while watching some game I didn't care about. Took a shower. Lay down on a bed that wasn't mine in a room that smelled like industrial cleaning products. And for the first time in weeks, I slept. Because the hard part was over. The wondering, the suspecting, the hoping I was wrong. Now I knew. And knowing meant I could act. Saturday morning. My phone rang at 8. Jennifer's name on the screen. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Not because I was cruel. Because I wanted her to feel what waiting felt like. "Mike," she said when I picked up. Her voice was tight. Controlled. "Where are you?" "Does it matter?" "Of course it matters. You left. You took your things and left without saying a word. I came home last night and you were just gone." "How was the party?" I asked. The question threw her. I could hear in the pause. "What?" "Your celebration. How was it? Did Austin enjoy sitting at your table with your parents?" Another pause. Longer this one. "Mike, if this is about the seating arrangements." "It's not about the seating arrangements, Jennifer. It's about $200,000. Silence. Complete silence. I could picture her face, the color draining out of it. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said finally. "Yes, you do. Parker Hospitality Ventures. The LLC you've been funneling our retirement money into. Austin's little investment fund. The one he used to open Velocity Cafe and steal my contracts." "Mike, I can explain." "Can you explain the forged signatures?" "Because Gerald showed me the withdrawal slips. That's my signature on documents I never signed. That's called fraud, Jennifer. That's a felony." Her breathing changed. Got faster. "You're talking to lawyers." "Of course I'm talking to lawyers. What did you think I was going to do? Just let you rob me blind?" "It wasn't robbery. It was an investment. Austin needed startup capital. Austin needed my money to compete against me. And you helped him do it. You gave him our financial information, our vendor contracts, our pricing structure, everything he needed to undercut my business and drive customers away." "That's not..." She stopped. Started again. "Mike, you don't understand the full picture. Then explain it to me. Explain why my wife has been spending 18 months stealing from me to fund her ex-boyfriend's business. Explain why you've been meeting him for lunch at your usual spot while telling me you're in meetings. Explain the thank you card from Silver Creek, the weekend you told me you were volunteering at a shelter. You went through my things. You went through my bank accounts. We're past privacy, Jennifer." She was crying now. Quiet tears, but I could hear them. "Mike, please. Come home. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix. Monday morning, you're getting served with separation papers. Tuesday morning, I'm filing a police report for fraud and identity theft. And by the end of next week, every client you stole from me is going to know exactly what Austin Parker is." "You can't do that. That's slander." "It's not slander if it's true. And I've got documentation, Jennifer. Bank records, forged signatures, transaction histories. Everything your fancy new VP salary can't make disappear." She was quiet for a long time. "Then, what about Madison?" "Madison already knows. She called me last night. And you know what she said? She said she's on my side. Because even her 19-year-old daughter could see what you've been doing." "Mike, I'm done, Jennifer. With the marriage, with the lies, with pretending I don't see what's right in front of me. You want Austin? You can have him. But you don't get to keep my money, my business reputation, and my dignity too." I hung up before she could respond. My hand was shaking. Not from anger. From relief. I'd said it. All of it. The truth I'd been carrying for weeks. My phone rang again immediately. I declined the call. It rang again. Declined again. Then a text came through. "Please don't do this. I'm sorry. We can work this out. I love you." I stared at those 3 words. I love you. 21 years of marriage. And that's what she said now. After everything. I deleted the message and blocked her number. Then I called Madison. "Hey, Dad," she answered. "You okay?" "I'm okay, sweetheart. Just wanted to hear your voice. Mom's been calling me all morning, crying, saying you won't talk to her. That's accurate. Good, Madison said. Don't. She doesn't deserve it. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Patricia Hendricks' office. She had 3 folders spread across her conference table, each one thicker than the last. Mike, sit down, Patricia said. We need to talk about what I found. I sat, braced myself. Your wife didn't just steal from you, Patricia said. She committed wire fraud, identity theft, and what might be considered racketeering, depending on how the DA want to charge it. Racketeering. She and Austin Parker have been operating a scheme for 18 months. They take your business intelligence, use it to undercut your franchise locations, then funnel profits back through the LLC. That's organized criminal activity. It fits the RICO statute. I sat back in the chair. You're saying my wife is running a criminal enterprise? Technically, yes. But here's where it gets interesting. Patricia pulled out another document. I had a private investigator run background on Austin Parker. Turns out, this isn't his first time. She slid a paper across the table. Court record from Oregon. Austin Parker, sued by his former business partner for fraud and misappropriation of funds. Settled out of court 3 years ago for an undisclosed amount. He's done this before, I said. At least once. Probably more. And Jennifer either didn't know or didn't care. What does this mean for the separation? Patricia smiled. Thin and sharp. It means you have leverage. Criminal charges hanging over her head tend to make people very agreeable in divorce negotiations. You want the house. You'll get the house. You want full custody of any shared assets? Done. You want her to pay you back for the stolen funds? She will, because the alternative is explaining to a jury why she forged your signature. What about Austin? What about him? Can we go after him too? Patricia leaned forward. Mike, I'm your attorney, not his. But if you were to file a civil suit against Parker Hospitality Ventures for tortious interference with business relationships and fraud, and if that suit just happened to include discovery requests for all his financial records, well, that would be perfectly legal. Do it, I said. You sure? Civil suits are expensive. Time-consuming. I'm sure. I want every dollar back. And I want everyone in this industry to know what Austin Parker is. Patricia nodded. I'll have the papers drawn up by Wednesday. I left her office at 10. Drove to the downtown franchise location. Tom was behind the counter, training the new assistant manager. Boss, Tom said when he saw me. You look different. Different how? I don't know. Lighter maybe. I smiled. That's because I finally dropped about 130 pounds of dead weight. Tom laughed. Then his expression got serious. Mike, I need to tell you something. That competitor, Velocity Cafe, they called me last week. Try to recruit me. Offer me 20% more than you're paying. What did you say? I told them to go to hell. But they knew our salary structure. Knew exactly how much I was making. Someone's been feeding them information. Not anymore, I said. That pipeline's been cut off. Tom studied my face. This is about Jennifer, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I'm sorry, man. Don't be. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to let it go. I spent the rest of the day at the Riverside location, checking inventory, reviewing accounts, talking to regular customers, getting back into the rhythm of work. Around 3, my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Richard Collins, Jennifer's father. We need to talk. I stared at that message for a long time. Richard Collins, the man who'd excluded me from his daughter's celebration because I wasn't successful enough for his standards. I texted back, talk to my lawyer, Patricia Hendricks. She'll give you my terms. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, this is a family matter. It should stay in the family. Should have thought of that before you invited Austin Parker to sit in my seat. I wrote back. We're done here. I blocked the number. My phone rang immediately. Susan Collins this time. Jennifer's mother. I let go to voicemail. Then David Collins, Jennifer's brother. Voicemail. Then Jennifer again, from a different number. Voicemail. They were circling the wagons. Trying to control the narrative. Trying to make me the villain. But I had something they didn't. Documentation. Evidence. The truth. And in the end, that's all that matters. 3 weeks after I filed for separation, Austin Parker's world started collapsing. It started small. A health inspector showed up at Velocity Cafe, found 18 code violations. The place shut down for a week. Then the Oregon lawsuit resurfaced. The business partner Austin had settled with, Turns out he'd never actually paid the settlement. Just made 3 payments and disappeared. Now there was a warrant out for his arrest in Portland. My civil suit hit him next. Discovery is a beautiful thing when you're on the right side of it. Austin had to produce every financial record, every contract, every transaction for the past 3 years. And what we found was a pattern. He'd done this before, not just in Oregon, in Arizona, in Nevada. Always the same scheme. Find a struggling business owner's wife, seduce her, get access to financial information, then compete against the husband until the business failed. Jennifer was just the latest mark. Patricia called me on a Thursday morning. Mike, Austin Parker just filed for bankruptcy. Personal and business. He's trying to shield his assets before your judgment comes through. Can he do that? He can try. But bankruptcy trustees look very closely at asset transfers. And all that money he moved to offshore accounts in the last 6 months, they'll claw that back. What about Jennifer? She's named as a co-conspirator in the fraud. If Austin goes down, she goes down with him. I sat with that information for a long time. 21 years of marriage. 1 daughter. And it all came down to this. My wife facing criminal charges because she chose the wrong man to trust. Jennifer called that night. First time I'd answered her call in 3 weeks. Mike, she said. Her voice was small. Broken. I need your help. With what? The DA wants to charge me with fraud. Patricia told them about the forged signatures. They're saying I could face 5 years. You could. Fraud is a felony. Please. I'm begging you. Drop the charges. Tell them you won't press charges. Jennifer, I didn't press charges. The DA did. Once they saw the evidence, it was out of my hands. But you gave them the evidence. You did this to me. No, I said. You did this to yourself. You stole from me. You forged my signature. You helped Austin destroy my business. All I did was document it. She was crying now. What about Madison? What happens to her if I go to prison? Madison's 19. She's an adult. She'll be fine. She won't speak to me. She won't return my calls. That's between you and her. There was a long pause. Then Jennifer said something that surprised me. I'm sorry. For all of it. I was stupid. I thought Austin was going to make me rich. Thought we were building something. But it was all lies. Yeah, I said. It was. Do you hate me? I thought about that. Did I hate her? No. Hate requires energy. Requires caring enough to hold onto anger. And I was done with both. I don't hate you, Jennifer. I just don't love you anymore. And that's worse, isn't it? She hung up without answering. The divorce finalized 8 weeks later. Jennifer signed everything Patricia put in front of her. Didn't fight for the house. Didn't fight for the franchises. Didn't fight for anything. She was too busy dealing with criminal charges. The DA offered her a deal. Plead guilty to 1 count of fraud, get 2 years probation, pay restitution. She took it. Austin wasn't as lucky. 3 counts of fraud, 1 count of identity theft, multiple counts of theft. The judge gave him 4 years. He'd be out in 2 with good behavior. I got the house, got the franchises, got a judgment against Austin for $200,000 that I'd probably never collect. But I got something else too. I got Madison. She came home for Thanksgiving. We cooked dinner together, just the 2 of us. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes. Normal stuff. Dad, she said while we were doing dishes. Are you okay? Really okay? Yeah, honey. I really am. I'm proud of you. For leaving. For fighting back. For not just taking it. I pulled her into a hug. You're the best thing that came out of that marriage. You know that. I know, she said. You tell me every time I see you. And it was true. 14 months after Jennifer's celebration, I stood in the grand opening of my 4th franchise location. Bigger than the others. Better location. Premium equipment. Everything I'd been planning before Austin Parker tried to destroy me. Madison was there, helping behind the counter. Home for spring break, wearing one of the company t-shirts, making lattes for the opening day crowd. Tom was managing the downtown location now. Full partner, 20% stake in the company. He'd earned it. My phone buzzed. Text from Patricia. Settlement came through. Austin's trustee recovered $140,000 from offshore accounts. Checks in the mail. Not everything I'd lost, but enough. More than enough. A woman walked up to the counter. Mid-30s, blonde, confident smile. This place is amazing, she said. How long have you been in business? 15 years, I said. Started with 1 location. Now we're at 4. That's impressive. I'm opening a bakery across the street. Maybe we could do a partnership. Your coffee, my pastries. Maybe. I said. I'm Mike, by the way. Sarah, she said, extending her hand. Sarah Mitchell. We talked for 20 minutes. About business, about the neighborhood, about nothing important. And it felt easy, natural, like conversation was supposed to feel. When she left, Madison came over. She was flirting with you, Dad. Was not. Was too. She gave you her business card with her personal number written on the back. I looked at the card. Sure enough, 10 digits in neat handwriting. You should call her, Madison said. Maybe I will. Dad, it's been over a year. Mom's moved on. You should too. Your mom moved on 2 years before we separated. That's different. Then call it evening the score. Call it whatever you want. Just call her. I put the card in my pocket. We'll see. That evening, after the grand opening crowd died down, I sat in my new office, looking at the books. The numbers were good. Better than good. The business was thriving. My phone buzzed. Text from Jennifer. Saw the news about the new location. Congratulations. You deserve it. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I deleted it without responding. Because that's the thing about moving forward. You can't do it if you're still looking back. I pulled out Sarah's business card. Looked at those 10 digits. Thought about what Madison said. Then I texted, "Hey, it's Mike from the coffee shop. Want to grab dinner this week and talk about that partnership?" 3 dots appeared. Then, "I'd love to. Friday work for you?" "Friday's perfect," I wrote back. I set the phone down and looked around my office. At the framed photo of Madison on the wall. At the business license with my name on it. At the life I'd rebuilt from nothing. Jennifer had taken a lot from me. Money, time, trust. But she hadn't taken the things that mattered. She hadn't taken my ability to build something real. To stand back up. To start over. And in the end, that's what separated us. She'd gambled everything on a con artist and lost. I'd bet on myself and won. The coffee shop was full of customers. Madison was laughing with someone at the register. The espresso machine was humming. Everything was exactly as it should be. I was 44 years old. Single. Starting a business expansion and maybe, just maybe, starting something else too. It wasn't the life I'd planned 21 years ago when I married Jennifer Collins. It was better.